I'll put it this way. God saved us from God's chosen people. That's what he did. Exactly what he did.
Now, it's the morning of the 8th, and you like you said, on the 7th, they took pictures, they positively identified you, you were able to hear this over the radio. Did they still have at that moment the CIA agents on board?
Yes, yes.
The NSA agents were on board, so you still got the exact same amount of people that are on board here.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking about a pretty big sacrifice they were willing to make.
Right.
Total number of people?
294 souls.
294 souls, okay. Take me through what happened on June 8th. You get up.
We get up at 0600, and like I say, we go to chow and take a shower, go to chow, go to work. We had a damage control drill just before the attack, say about 1 o'clock. And I was in damage control. I was assistant on-scene leader in damage control. And I was in an impregnated suit, which is a suit for washing down the ship of chemicals. And it was very, very hot that day. I mean, 100 degrees on the deck, easy or more. And I thought I was going to pass out. It was so hot. Finally, it was over with. And I went and stowed my gear. Excuse me, the sound-powered phones weren't working on the starboard gun mount.
The sound?
Yeah, they're sound-powered phones, from just like, you could put on headphones, but they were sound-powered. They weren't electrical. And for some reason, it wasn't working. And I went to the IC shop, and I got a friend of mine, David Skolak. He was an ice seaman, and that was his job, take care of the IC system there for sound-powered phones and the IC system, intercoms on the ship. And he came up there, and the gunner's mate was up there also. They were manning the guns. We were in a condition 3, just in case, because we could see the bombs going off and everything on the Sinai. So we thought, that this is really not a good place to be. And just as soon as I left that gun mount, about 30 seconds after I left it, I got back to my workstation, and all hell broke loose. The attack began.
What's the first thing you remember?
First thing I remember was all hands get to your general quarter stations. We're under attack. We're under attack. And I got to my GQ station, which is in the front part of the ship. And those 2 men that I just left there, not a minute it took me to get back up there. They were dead. They were blown to bits. Anything that moved aboard that ship, they were shot at. As in the letter, they took out all of our antennas within 3 seconds. Our 450 caliber machine guns were gone. Every watertight door was hit. And this went on for 25 minutes, dropping napalm on us. 25 minutes of that, you can't imagine. Every second was like an hour. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. And you got people severely blown up, wounded badly. And it continued and continued and continued for 25, 30 minutes. And then there was a lull. We saw the torpedo boats coming. We thought, the Star of David, oh, good. Because these were unmarked jet aircraft. We didn't know who was attacking us. We thought it was the Arabs. And then we saw the torpedo boats, and the Star of David thought, oh man, here's our best friends who are going to come help us. No, they come to sink us.
When you talk about them dropping napalm, and so they did this immediately, what does that do for people that are not aware? What is the purpose of that, and how does the body react to napalm, the chemical agent?
It can burn you severely, and it also can explode your lungs. Very, very hot. I tried to go up and put it out with CO2, and I couldn't do it. They shot up all our fire hoses, too. We had no way to fight fires with water at all. They shot them all up.
Instantly in that first 25 minutes.
Yes.
So they took out
Everything.
The antennas instantly, the fire hoses instantly, so you couldn't take out fire. And during those 25 minutes, what were you doing specifically?
I was getting people off deck, taken to a triage in the mess decks. The whole mess decks was full of people laying on the tables, on the floor. It was a sea of broken and bloodied men. And it continued like that for, like I say, for the entire attack. And then the torpedo boats got up to us. They did, they fired 5 torpedoes at us.
So all the antennas are taken out, 25 minutes has passed, and they're obviously assuming that you can't communicate your distress. You indicated in your letter, was it before the torpedoes that fortunately somebody had taken one of those
yes.
offline?
Terry Haldebardier, he's a third-class radioman. He strung a long wire to the only antenna. He took that antenna offline because it wasn't working. So they didn't hit it because they were using heat-seeking missiles to hit all the antennas. Because when they're tuning, they throw off heat, and they took them all out except that one, and he got it. Thank God. I mean, there's reasons for all this happened, and he got it hooked up, rockstar, and like I said, it went to Vietnam. The 6th Fleet picked it up. They automatically sent aircraft from the Saratoga and Captain Tully, and before they even hit the horizon, McNamara says, "Bring those aircraft back. Do not help Liberty. Turn around."
So our Secretary of Defense, I mean, this attack could, in theory, since he was able to get that message out, in theory, the attack could have been over. How long after it started?
Well, almost immediately. In fact, they could have saved 25 brave American lives, all spies that got killed when the torpedo hit.
But instead,
if they would have just let those planes come help us. But that wasn't the deal. We were set up by our own government to die.
So Robert McNamara, who in interviews thereafter says he doesn't remember a single thing that happened that day. That's what he told the Chicago Tribune. He doesn't remember anything that happened that day. He recalls them back. And then what happens?
Then the America and Tully reconfigured their aircraft, and they sent aircraft again because they went to a different command. They wanted, it was their prerogative to go to a different, higher.
Because they're thinking, what do you mean pull us back? Like our American.
Right. And then LBJ gets on the phone, and his exact words were, "I don't give a GD if all those sailors die. I'm not going to embarrass my ally Israel," like I said in the letter. Now, how did he know that if we didn't know it? Who was attacking us?
So they then have the President of the United States. So this guy's trying to do the right thing, Captain Tully. He's like, we're going to help them. He gets called back by the Secretary of Defense. He's thinking, I'm going to go over his head because this is crazy. And now the President of the United States is saying, I don't care. I don't give a GD if they die. I am not going to embarrass our friend and ally Israel. So he knew. He knew.
And, they destroyed Captain Tully's career, too. They fired him. He got fired for doing that. He was a World War II fighter pilot, very, very highly decorated, good man. In fact, he came to one of our reunions and broke down like a baby and cried. So I'm sorry, I couldn't help you. It wouldn't let me. And he took that to his grave. He was a broken man.
Oh, I can't even imagine what he went through.
Yeah.
Having to follow orders when the orders were so demonic.
Yes, absolutely.
So he gets called back again. This time it's from the President of the United States. And now you are seeing torpedo boats with the Star of David. Now you guys know, and you're thinking, amazing, we're about to get saved. We've got these flags inside. We know who these guys are. Fine. Yeah. We don't know who's attacking us, but we know these are our friends. When did you notice, wait a second, something's not right here?
When the old man said, prepare for torpedo hit starboard side. I saw 2 torpedoes go aft. Where the other 2 went, I don't know, but I know where one of them went. It hit in the communications spaces and killed 25 brave young men. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today, to be their voice, because we're not going to let them die in vain. There's not many survivors left. They're dying out, and it's our duty as Americans and patriots to take care of them and make sure their lives didn't die in vain. And all presidents and all Congress, including Donald Trump, has not done anything for us. They're beholden to the Zionist state, AIPAC. Donald Trump's a new president again. I call on Donald Trump to help us. I mean, we gave our lives and our blood for this country at the hands of the Zionists, Israel. And does he stand with Israel, or does he stand with the United States fighting men that were slaughtered that day by the Zionist state, covered up, saying with mistaken identity? I call on you, President Trump, to give the USS Liberty the same courtesy we deserve, or any fighting man that was killed that day. But we don't get it because Israel did it. It's fine as long as Israel did it. It's fine. It was a mistaken identity. It wasn't. Admiral Moore, he had the Moore report. It's a very, very detailed report. He's the longest-serving admiral in the United States Navy. He served as the European commander and the Pacific commander, and two times as chairman of Joint Chiefs. And he says, "I'll never believe it was a mistaken identity." And he called on Congress over and over to have an investigation. Congress says there already has been an investigation. There never has been. There's been a board of inquiry by Admiral Isaac Kidd and his boss, or his underling, JAG officer, Ward Boston. They completed that investigation in 7 days. Should have taken a year. They never even talked to Israel. They took Israel's word instead of ours.
So you're watching, you're on this boat, you see this torpedo hit. That torpedo instantly kills 25 servicemen. And you escape, fortunately, are able to escape this. What is going on in your mind? Because I just am thinking of that moment of consciousness when you think you're going to be saved because you see your friend and your ally, and then suddenly you realize that your friend and your ally is actually killing you, and they're in torpedo boats, so there's no way they know this is an American ship. Right?
Yes.
What's going on in your mind and emotionally in that moment? If you could take yourself back, like how that conscious switch of, wait a second, this is not my friend, I'm being betrayed.
Well, I think Jesus Christ would know a lot about betrayal, and we were betrayed. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm here, is because Jesus Christ didn't want us to die that day. He wanted us. Well, I'll put it this way. God saved us from God's chosen people. That's what he did. Exactly what he did.